Hey friends and family. I wanted to make a video. So I just got back from Asia 2 weeks ago. That was four. 2 weeks ago. And so I like, and if you watch the videos, or you watch any of them, or maybe you didn't, but I make usually after every country, sometimes every city, depending on how long I'm there. But every country I like to reflect on that country, what I learned, what worked, what didn't, what I took from it, and then at the very end I like to reflect on the trip as a whole. Again, like not because like I am like sage like, or you're gonna get some profound wisdom, or I have something to contribute to that conversation that probably hasn't been already said. Maybe something you haven't heard of from in yourself, but in the zeitgeist as a whole, it's pretty. I'm sure it's pretty standard. But I like making them. I like thinking about them. I like looking back on them, on these reflection videos, and I like trying to see if what has changed. So I plan on doing this again next year, and I talked about this before, but I plan on next year going to Borneo and Thailand again for a lot longer in Thailand this time, and then South Korea and Brunei. But this trip, and I want to see then, I'll watch this video before I go back to that, because I like to see what worked, what didn't, what I ran into, and what I learned from my trips, or my trip, or trips. I guess it's one trip, but it's a bunch of several trips in that one trip. So this time, we spent 7 weeks, my wife and I. My wife is, she's my travel partner, and I'll tell you about her too. What a trooper. Crazy what she went through this time. But we spent 7 weeks, and we started in the Philippines, and then we went to Malaysia, then Thailand, Cambodia, China, and then finally end up in Hong Kong and Macau. So Manila was our first place. We flew into Manila, and what's really interesting to me, and I might have talked about this before, I don't know, like a couple years ago when we started doing this international travel, our first place we went outside of like Mexico or Canada. I've been to Mexico more times than I can count. I could have had residency, I think, in Tijuana, how many times I went in the 90s. But our first international travel, other than, I take all that back, I guess. When I was in the Marine Corps, I went to Okinawa and Japan and Hong Kong. But it's not quite the same. So my first international travel as an adult was Vietnam. And I don't know if I can ever recreate that feeling of getting off the plane in Vietnam in Ho Chi Minh City, going to our hotel and kind of walking around. This is a completely foreign world, a completely foreign society. It's just the wonderment, the excitement, and maybe excitement isn't the right word, but the wonderment, the curiosity, the sensory overload. And maybe that's also because Ho Chi Minh City is quite, if you're talking about, out of every city I've been to internationally, Ho Chi Minh is by far the craziest city you'll ever go to. As far as just the sensory overload with the scooters and the beeping and the way you cross the streets, the traffic. But recreating that sense is, I feel like, going to be impossible to a degree, because, that was our first trip. Our next trip, the next year, we went to Thailand, Bali, Singapore, Taipei, and Japan. And while each place is different, it's still, they're not like completely like, oh, this, I don't even know what, it's not a different feeling. They're very different, they're unique, but there's this overall sense. And once you've kind of not accomplished it, not conquered it, but once you've like made it through a different society, a different culture, like a stay, and you can do it, it doesn't quite hit as hard. And not that you don't, I'm still, my curiosity is off the charts when I go to new places, but it's like this. It's not that feeling of like, oh my God, what is, everything's like, whoa. Now it's like, oh, I recognize that. I understand this vibe. I get this. Okay, I get this. Oh, that's different. So I say all that because when I flew into Manila, that's the feeling, right? Got off the plane. It's been cold here in Oregon. We leave out in the winter. Got off the plane, hot. Great. Got to our hotel. Our hotel wasn't great. It wasn't. It was one of the worst hotels we had in the whole state, maybe the worst. It had cockroaches, well, a lot of cockroaches. The view was great, but it was in like this crazy militarized zone. Had checkpoints to get in and out. So Manila wasn't as great, but I went to Manila, Philippines. I'd never been to the Philippines, and I just wanted to experience Philippines. I wanted to eat the food. I wanted to eat lechon. I wanted to eat kwek kwek, and I wanted to eat halo halo. Those were the biggest things on my list. And there's a whole bunch of smaller things, of course. Those are the biggest. I got to eat lechon the first night I was there. I had it multiple times throughout. I ate kwek kwek the first night I was there, and I had multiple times throughout. And then I had more halo halo. Then it was disgusting. Every time my wife turned around, I was like sitting there, I was eating halo halo every time. Oh my God, it's so good. We went to Port Dickson. We took a bus to Port Dickson. We rented a scooter there. That was great. The hotel was old, but it was nice. It was great, right on the beach. The water we didn't really get into. We swam in the pool a lot. We took a scooter. We went and found the golden flying fox, the giant flying foxes, like 6-foot wingspan type things. I was like the hot thing on my list. We found those. We went on a food tour in Manila, which was a really great food tour. Really great way they put that on. So we got to ride in the jeepneys. We got to ride in the little trikes. That was really cool on the food tour. So Manila as a whole, the one was great, just food adventures, walking through Chinatown and night markets. Manila as a whole, it struck me as very much poverty stricken, a lot of it. I said about this in other videos, the distinction between the haves and have-nots in Manila really was in your face to me. So people in Manila, oh my gosh, they're so nice. Or Philippines in general. In Subic, Manila, whatever person I met, even like, and I said this before, I keep saying that because I know some people have seen these, some people haven't. I don't want to sound like I can repeat myself, I am. Everybody was so nice. Even like the crazy security guard, like outside of some of the hotels, like in our little hotels, there's like security guards like just combat shotguns, like assault shotguns, like on their chest. I'm like, damn, homie. But even then, you'd smile at them, and they just like biggest smiles appear. They look like hard, like they're chiseled out of stone. Like, oh, you fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck you up. And they would be like, but you smile, they just smile right back. So great food, great people. I can't say enough about the Filipino people as a whole. I just love, and the food was amazing. I loved it. So from there, I learned a lesson when we flew out of the Philippines to go to Kuala Lumpur. Apparently the ticket I bought did not include luggage for that one little thing, so I had to go buy luggage. I paid for luggage, or two pieces of luggage, and the luggage costed $330. And the tickets were $364. So our luggage, almost as much as the tickets. Anyways, we went to Kuala Lumpur. We were in Kuala Lumpur a few days, and then Port Dickson, we rented a car. First time I ever driven a car in another country. Car driving side, the steering wheel on the right side of the wheel, right side of the car, which is different, drive on the other side of the street. I've driven scooters like that, but not cars. Kuala Lumpur was great. The food tour there, it was okay. It wasn't my favorite. It was probably my least favorite food tour out of all the ones we've done. We've done, I don't know, 8 food tours, probably 7, 8 over the years. But it has some good stuff. I tried durian for the first time, and I really wanted to try that. Found some hawker centers, found a lot of good, had kaya toast. I love kaya toast. People at Kuala Lumpur, nice too, no complaints. Our pool in Kuala Lumpur was a rooftop infinity pool, so you guys see all the skyline of the city at night. The buildings were lit up, amazing. So it was great. The apartment, we had a little apartment type thing, a little room there, and the first one that smelled like sewage. That's why I texted them, and I was like, dude, I can't do it. And like they had us move to another apartment within 15 minutes. Completely moved, completely set up. So no complaints. Hawker centers all around us, so we could just go get great, amazing food. I ended up really loving our neighborhood in Kuala Lumpur. It was amazing. And then in Port Dickson, pretty old hotel. We had an apartment type thing, but it was amazing. We had a car, so we could drive around. We saw monkeys. We saw monkeys in the Philippines. We saw monkeys in Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur, or in Port Dickson. And so I don't think, I guess like on our first, you hit these little hiccups. Like I remember when we got to Port Dickson, I got my computer set up because I work remote when we're traveling. And the first thing I did was like my little peripheral with all my USBs was dead. I was like, momentarily, I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And it's like a little Google search, and 3 blocks from our place is a little, like, a Malaysian Radio Shack. Went down there, guy hooked me up with a great little thing, popped it in. And it's kind of this, and it seems like such a small thing, right? It's just a small, but those little tiny things, when you're in another country, it can seem really big. And so just we figured it out real quick, got it done. We had in Kuala Lumpur, in order to give our deposit for our place in Port Dickson, we had to figure out how to like transfer money through their banking system, and that was a big thing. Figured that out. Kuala Lumpur, or when we flew out of Malaysia, easy, right? Got to Thailand. We went to Bangkok for 3 days. Then we went down to Hua Hin for like 12 days, and back to Bangkok for 3 days. Thailand's my favorite country in the world. Vietnam's number 2. And when here in a few years, when we plan on retiring, those are the 2 countries we plan on splitting our time with. Because, and people ask me, I get this question quite a bit from friends and family, and just people I run into. What do you love about Thailand so much, or Vietnam, especially Thailand? And the first and number one answer, and this is going to sound all goofy and excuse me, and kind of not cool, I guess, but the food. The food is Thai food. Oh my God. Oh my stars and garters. It's just, Thai food is, there is something completely magical to me in the most systematic, simplest ways of walking up to an auntie at a market or on the side of the street with a little cart, or an uncle, and giving them like $2 or whatever, and they make you pad krapao right there. They make you a noodle dish. They make you Penang curry, whatever it is. They make it right there in front of you, hot, fresh, right into a plate, right to your hand, and you're sitting on maybe on the curb, maybe on a little plastic chair, a little table, and there is something completely magical and life affirming. And I know it sounds like I'm grandiose and I'm making this more than it is, but it's really not. It's those moments when you sit there and you watch this world go by, a world that you're part of but not part of, because you're there in their society, but you're watching them go by. It's so magical. I had one of those moments in Subic. I found this little family selling halo halo in the middle of this neighborhood, completely so off the beaten. It was no foreigners type thing, type thing. Not like they weren't allowed. It's just they don't go down the streets. They make halo halo. I sat there and got their halo halo, and then I went back there later after I was dropping off my scooter, and I got some chicken and a drink, and I sat there on the side of a curb and you just watched the neighborhood interact. You watch them playing basketball and like barefoot, you watch all this stuff going on, and that's the tough stuff in Bangkok. I did a lot of, I buy something, I go down and buy a dish from the street vendors, and I just sit there and eat it. Sometimes we ate it back in the room, but that's like my favorite thing to do. Bangkok, we've been there. That was our 4th time, I think, going to Bangkok. Not like a lot of time each time. It's like, like 3 days, 1 day, 3 days, 3 days. Every time though, it's been great. And the food there is amazing. Neighbors, 7-Elevens. We got Sakyant tattoos. I got one underneath here. Freaking, you can see it kind of down there. So we got that done in Bangkok. Bangkok as a whole, no complaints. Thailand as a whole, no complaints. We were in Hua Hin. It was nice. We were there 12 days, so we got to kind of establish rhythms and kind of like a pattern. We get up in the morning, we have our little breakfast, we go down the street to just the street vendors, buy some food, some fresh pineapple, some coconut juice, some other stuff, whatever we found. We eat it. We go to the pool. I swim laps, come back, get some lunch, go back down, go to the pool. Go off to the beach in the evening, walk down the beach when it's a little bit cooler, go to the night market. And it felt like a preview to, in a way, of our life to come, and I'm hoping that's what it is. But it is magical. It really was. From Thailand, we flew to Cambodia. We went to Siem Reap, and then took a bus to Phnom Penh. Both places, Angkor Wat it lives up to the hype. Anybody who trying to poo-poos it, don't go listen to them. Angkor Wat's amazing. I don't need to be there for the whole day. It's so hot. And I'm not like a temple guy, so we went there at sunset one night and then sunrise the next morning. We were good. Saw a lot of monkeys again. Saw them in Thailand. So we saw monkeys in every country we went to this time but China. So yeah, and then our pool was nice. People in Cambodia are super nice. Oh my gosh, they're so nice. We went to Apopo, where they train the landmine rats, and we went to Landmine Museum. So very heavy, very deep. And Phnom Penh, we went to S21, which is the prison where they killed so many people, and we went to the killing fields. Immensely resonating, like just places. These are the places you walk into and you just feel the weight. You feel this. It's like the War Remnants Museum in Ho Chi Minh City, or Hanoi Hilton in Hanoi. You just feel the weight, the air. It's already humid, so it's already, but you just feel like this extra heaviness in the air. You have to see them, I think. It was on top of my list. Everybody should see them, but they're so. I don't know if any place doesn't make you think about yourself and your place in the world and what the world has happened around you, what the world means to other people. I don't know how that doesn't when you go to these places. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm guilty because I'm American and, you know, Americans such horrible things to both these places. It's just recognizing the intensity and the consequences of actions in the world. It's something to see and it's something to feel. And, you know, so I don't know if I'd ever go back to them because they're hard. They're heavy. They don't like, you're not like the day's not like, ooh, they're done. Well, now let's go do something fun. It's like, you just reflect a lot, but they're necessary. That's all there is, they're necessary. And then from there, from Cambodia, we went to Guangzhou, China. And I'm not gonna lie, Guangzhou, man, that was hard. It was definitely difficult. Now, I talked about earlier that the only place, you know, you maybe recreating that completely foreign feeling, Guangzhou is the only place I've been to where it felt like a different place. Everything was quiet because everything's electric. And the people aren't the friendliest, like outgoing. They're friendly when you interact with them, but they don't have like outward friendliness where they're not like, you walk in and they're like, they smile at you or something. There's like, you have to pull, I feel like, a little bit of the friendliness out of it. You have to contribute first and then they'll reciprocate. Which is fine. It's like, I'm more of somebody who's like, I'm shy. I want you to be friendly first. And then I'm like, oh, you're friendly. Okay, hi. But so Guangzhou was hard to order food. It was hard to even use taxis. It was difficult. My wife struggled with food. We couldn't get any of the ordering rideshare or like food order apps to work because we finally figured out the last order there that how to order, use the QR codes with our Alipay. It was just a very difficult experience. And getting out of there on the bullet train, their train station is like the size of an airport and it is intimidating. And it took a lot of like, figuring out, but we finally did it. Then we went to Hong Kong, took the bullet train to Hong Kong. And wow, the bullet train's amazing. And wow, America, we are so behind on everything. We have like our little choo-choos and Asia has like bullet trains. They're just flying along. Hong Kong, I've been there before. I loved it again. Hong Kong is more expensive. You know, it's one of the more expensive places. I feel like when you go places for food and stuff, it's not like American expensive, but it's more expensive. And then Hong Kong, we took a day and we went to Macau and we had egg tarts there and the pineapple pork buns and then jerky. And it was a nice little trip. So overall, it was amazing. It had its trials, its tribulations, where there are multiple times where we kind of hit little roadblocks, especially in China. We had to figure out a lot of stuff out in China. There were times when it was like a little bit like, okay. You know, like back from the edge a little bit. Just come back a little bit because it was like, wow, we were a little reeling at times. But again, and I talked about this last year when I did a video, I really live for those moments and not for the moment. I don't live for it where I'm like, oh yeah, can't wait to struggle. No, I live for oh yeah, I can't wait to struggle, but I figured it out. It's that I figured it out part. That's what I live for. Because it just reaffirms that I think I can, or my wife and I can, we can figure it out if we just like, okay, namaste type of thing. You know, Am-myoho Renge Kyo. Just like, okay, now I got a clear head now and figure it out. And every single thing we hit, we figured out. When we were in Cambodia, 11 o'clock at night, I'm about to sign off from work. 6 o'clock in the morning, I think it was, our flight to Guangzhou. Get an email from Canadair. Your flight from Hong Kong is canceled because of the war. Because of war with Iran. Fuel shortages, flight canceled. So luckily, when we flew into Guangzhou, we were doing the 10-day policy where it passed through in China. As long as we had our train ticket out, we could leave. Cool. So they let us enter China. Otherwise, we would have been screwed. Hong Kong, though, on the other hand, you can't just enter Hong Kong without an exit. And so in that time we were in Guangzhou, in those 3 days, I had to make sure we get a new flight. I booked this flight in July of last year. And I booked it and I got an amazing deal. I got it was like $600 and some dollars, something like that for us, both for one way from Hong Kong to Portland or Seattle. Super happy about what we got. Well, when it got canceled, I didn't take what I could get, and it cost me another $1,700. Oh, and all my miles, like 100,000 miles I had in one card, and 1,700 on top of that. So, but that's another thing. We got hit with something. We figured it out. Not saying we didn't figure it out with like some expletives and some mother effing this dude, and So we definitely had those moments. But we figured it out. And so that's what I live for. I live for hit me. I don't want to live for that part, but when I get back up and I figure it out, that's what I want to, because it just makes me, I feel like it makes us a better travelers, makes us better people. And I just live for every single place I went to pretty much. I got these moments where I just got to sit on the side of the road or at a cafe or something, order some amazing food and just watch the world and just appreciate it. And that's something I didn't do in my youth. I'm 52 now. The last like 3-4 years, I forced myself to appreciate things. And when I say force myself, I'm not like, you will like this fucker. You will like this, you bastard. You better. It's the thought of, I force myself to, stop, appreciate where you're at. Okay, yeah, and then go on. It's just too much taken for granted. My time is not endless here. And I'm not getting younger. So, and I may never get that moment again. When I was on a bullet train, I was just going across and I was like sat there and I was listening to my music. I love listening to music as I go across when I travel on buses and trains in Asia. I listen to my favorite bands, Get Dead, Old Cross, Taylor Swift. People are gonna start laughing now. I mean, these are like my favorite things to listen to when I go across. Tracy Chapman. I love these old punk bands, or not even old punk bands, Rise Against, Co-Defendants. I just love listening to these bands as I go across. And I sat there and I'm like, I'm on a bullet train in China. That's awesome. I was on a bus, I'm on a bus in Cambodia. Just going along, listening to some Get Dead. It's just, I really take those moments and I really appreciate them. And so that's what the whole trips are for me. They're these cataloging of appreciations. There are these new insights, these new explorations, these new experiences, and that's worth every penny to me. I said this before, I work a lot. People always wonder, how do I work as much as I do, hours? But I always tell them I work hard and I vacation harder, and it's worth it to me. And it's only worth it because I don't feel so run down. Maybe it's genetics, I'm lucky that way, but I don't feel run down even though as much as I work. So I work, I work out, I work. And then I get these, I don't do this like one thing. Throughout the rest of the year, I'll camp, I'll do all these like little adventures, like anytime I get these little, just small adventures, just to catalog more experiences and more, it just rounds you out, I feel like. But that's what I do. And that's what I did this trip. And I was so happy about it. And I loved every moment of it, even the parts that not everything was great, but most of it was good. It was like, 90-10, 95-5. Yeah, it was. In the little tiny parts that were little hiccups or weren't as fun, easily forgotten with the next parts. So that's it. That's it at all. And I mean, I can't wait. I'm hoping this next year goes by. I hate wishing my life away. I try to refrain from that policy. Even the weekdays, I don't like, I can't wait for the weekend. I want the weekend to end because you only have so many days. So I don't want this to go fast, but I can't wait to go back to. I look at it now is that I live in Asia and I have to visit the US 10 months a year. So that's the way I look at it. I live over there, but then 10 months a year I gotta come back here and hang out and gotta work and do my normal stuff and then build enough, I can leave. And then hopefully in 3 years I sell everything and the wife, May and I, we moved to Vietnam and Thailand or wherever else, but we move there and we start that chapter of our life. That's hopefully. So thanks for listening. I know it's long and like I said, there's nothing profound here, but It's my gratitude and my recognition of my humbleness and the world that I live in and the gratitude I have for being able to experience the world. That's the only thing I take from it. And if you take anything from anything I say, if you ever want to travel, I know I wait till like 50 or so till I really traveled. Well, I started this late in my traveling. Not that I didn't do a million things in my 50 years before that. And believe me, I've lived a very full life. But if you ever want to do it, just do it. Yes, it is expensive. It can be, but it's worth every penny. Just if you want to go to Vietnam, just book a flight. Figure it out. It's not that hard. In today's world with Google Translate, all the different apps, it's easier than ever. You know, the way you communicate with people, the way you pay people, the way you figure out where to go, where you get around. It's never been easier in the history of the world. Go do it. Take a chance. Go book a flight to Vietnam and get a banh mi and sit on the side of the sidewalk and watch people. Go get a bowl of pho, get a banh xeo. Go to Thailand, get some pad kra pao, get some Thai tea, some pink milk, and just live it. Live it. Get some English COS. Cao Niao Mamo. You know, just try it. I mean, who knows? Who knows? You know what? Maybe you'll hate it. But most likely you'll love it and you'll book another flight as soon as you can. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.